Right. All right. Starting recording now. And I'm going 3, 2, and 1. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool,
who you can't see right now.
No, I'm invisible today.
Sean's on location. He is. Where are you at, Sean? You're at a conference this week.
Yeah, I'm at the Capitalism Conference, CapCon 5, and It's actually 3 miles from home. It's on a really cool, 7-acre ranch. It's a small event, outdoor fire pit. Whole venue's kind of outdoors.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of a fun, kind of nice. It's my first event, since COVID. So it's This is a nice way to kind of get back into it. But yeah, we're on a hilltop, so I can see. Looking right now, I can see probably 12 miles across the hill country. So it's pretty nice.
Very cool. Seems like a lot of events are going on this week. I know we got capitalism.com, and then I know Funnel Hacking Live down in Orlando is going this week. So
yeah, a little bit bigger than this one, but we've had some really cool people here. People doing 6, 7, 8 figure. This is all physical products mostly, and supplement brands, healthcare brands, things like that. And these are people really actually building 7 and 8 figure businesses, and some people who have exited with 8 and 9 figures. So it's a cool kind of high end group. So it's fun.
Very good. Very good. Love that. Love that atmosphere. Get you charged when you come back and you're ready to go.
Absolutely.
Well, today we are, so Sean's Wi-Fi is a little spotty. So he is joining via, I've got him connected via cell phone through the Bluetooth. Amazing what we can overcome with technology. So, you can still hear Sean, but we just can't see him, and we can't see his beer. So that may be a problem. I don't know. Maybe not.
No, it's super dark. So it would be just black anyway. So.
All right. Well, we've got a great topic today. We've got a guest who's going to be joining us today to discuss marketing with TikTok. I think this is really interesting, Sean, because I know you've been dabbling a little with TikTok, and our guest today is going to show how he has kind of expanded his business using TikTok. And it's not what you would think. It's not the crazy videos and goofy videos that you can see and watching people dancing and all that stuff. He's actually a professional who is teaching some very, professional type of advice, or he's sharing professional advice in the financial world. And he's doing it in a fun way using TikTok and making it really fun, short videos. And has really gained a lot of traction with that. So I'm really excited to hear how he's using, that platform to grow his audience.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds cool. It's like you think TikTok is just for the tweens and maybe the early 20s and people like that. But wherever there's a crowd, there's an opportunity.
Absolutely. So before we jump into our interview with our guest, he's going to be coming up from the green room. He's already waiting patiently in the green room. We're going to go through our ceremonial review of brew.
Yes, absolutely. I've got a good one, I think, today. So I'm excited.
All right.
When I got it from the local store here, the guy actually warned me when I picked it off the shelf. He's like, "That's like chewing a chocolate brownie, just so you know."
Okay.
Sounds perfect.
That sounds perfect for me. I mean, that's right up our alley.
Yeah.
Thick and sweet, right? But not too sweet.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. So.
Well, I may have topped you this week. All right.
Well, I'll let you go first then, and then I'll follow up.
All right. So I will go first because I really do think I've got you beat this week. I may not. But I've got a new one from KBS. It is the highly acclaimed KBS flavored espresso bourbon barrel stout. All right.
Wow.
Never had this one on. This is a new founder's edition. Ale brewed with chocolate and coffee, aged in oak bourbon barrels, with a little espresso flavored. So I don't have their page pulled up, but I can tell you, this bad boy is 12% ABV.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it sounds like at this moment you're trying to seduce me. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on here, but that's what it sounds like.
Buddy, when I saw this, when I saw this,
if I was on camera.
yeah, I can sense you're salivating. I can just sense you salivating. When I saw this 4-pack, it just jumped out at me, and I didn't care. It wasn't even in the freezer. It wasn't even cold. It was warm, sitting out on the dry shelf out in the open, but I still took it and said, I don't care if it's cold or not. I'm going to have it.
I don't care if it's 50. I don't care if it's $50. I'm still buying the 4-pack.
That's exactly right. So I can't wait to try it. So what do you got?
So I've got a brand or brewery that we've had on before called Untitled Art. Do you remember the can?
Oh, yeah.
Like a white can, and then it had the artwork on it.
Absolutely.
So this is Untitled Art. Now this is a double chocolate fudgy brownie stout.
Okay. All right.
So a lot going on, right? Double chocolate fudgy brownie. I mean, I don't know how much more chocolatey and brownie, like double chocolate fudgy brownie. That's a lot of chocolate in one thing. And then stout. So an imperial stout with cocoa nibs, vanilla, beans, and of course chocolate. And it comes in at 11.7%. So we're about on the same page with percentage. I think yours is probably going to be a little bit better because the coffee will kind of tone down some of the sweetness. I think mine's going to be just like chewing a chocolate brownie.
Sure.
So,
hey, you had me at chocolate brownie. That's all you had to say is chocolate brownie.
Yeah. So I'm excited because we just finished lunch not too long ago. So I'm ready.
Very good.
Well,
all right.
All right.
Well, you can't see it, but I'm cheering you right now.
Cool. Cheers.
All right. Oh man, that is better than it looked. I wish you could see it.
Oh man. So this would be, I mean, I'm looking at it. So this would be like dark
for our audience.
Yeah. I mean, it's as dark as you can get.
Do you have us pulled up on Facebook? Can you see that?
I don't. I'm just on the phone. So,
right.
But hey, this is good. Like, it's not as sweet as I thought it would be. It's definitely sweet. Like, you're not gonna just sit back and drink 2 or 3 of these. Like, one is gonna be enough. But it's really good. It tastes very much like a chocolate fudge brownie. Not like just a regular brownie, but it has that extra layer of like the fudgy chocolate. And that's what it tastes like. It tastes like drinking that or eating the batter. Not quite as thick as the batter, but licking the bowl when the wife's making the chocolate brownies. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
I remember those days. Licking that bowl after the mixer was finished doing its job in the bowl. Licking the beaters off too. Yep, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what this tastes like.
Oh,
so,
man.
It's the adult version of that.
Well, you may have beat mine then. I don't know that I can give that kind of taste. This is very good, but you can definitely taste the ABV quantity in this one. Probably a little strong. Obviously not one that you would have multiple. This is a probably single, maybe a double.
Right.
But it's got a good flavor. I love the chocolate and the espresso flavored mixed with chocolate. It's got a nice, the initial taste is good. The aftertaste, it has a little bit to be desired. It's kind of a little bitter aftertaste for me. So, I was expecting a little better. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the danger when you get up in that, anything above 11, 12%.
Yep.
Starts to get really leans towards a spirit instead of a beer.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm excited about our guest. So
yes, absolutely.
We got to rate real quick.
Yep.
So I'm going to get mine. This is really good. Like if you like these kinds of beers, which we do, then there is a little something that doesn't make it a 5. So I'm going to give it a 4.9. It's that good.
Wow. Okay. I got to find this.
Good. Yeah. I don't know. It may be a Texas thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I got to find this.
It's from Wisconsin, so I would think total Total Wine should be able to get it because it's from Wisconsin.
I am going to give this founders. I mean, name alone is going to give it some points right there. But I'm probably going to give this one a score of 3.9. 3.9.
Wow,
Not terrible.
That is cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a solid score, but not quite what I was expecting.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, I am excited for our guest.
Yes.
TikTok marketing. Because I'm, like you said, I'm kind of dabbling there, and I got a little, nervous apprehension. So I'm excited to hear somebody walk me through this, and I learned something today. So let's do it. And for those listening, if I get cut off, you guys just keep going on.
That's right.
Who knows?
Oh, we will.
It's 2021, but who knows? Who knows what technology is going to do?
All right, so I have Adam Kunichulu, and I'm probably messed that up again. So I gotta confirm with Adam. But I am happy to have him on. He is a fractional CFO accounting firm owner that translates finances into English. He has experience working in many industries, but his talents and passions lie in helping business owners make more money. And he is doing a lot of his work, sharing a lot of his a lot of his financial advice on TikTok, and he has used that platform to really build some leverage there and gain some traction with building a huge following on that. So I'm happy to have him on. Adam, thanks for joining us today, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Got to give you the ceremonial applause. And as I mentioned before the show, you popped in from the green room. I love the tie. I love the, Sean, you can't see right now. I think you may have seen when you first got on, but he's got the green bow tie with the green background. Totally on point.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Got to stay on brand at all times.
All right.
Love
So
it.
I said Kanitula. So please help me there again, once again.
It's okay. It's Kanitala.
Kanitala. That's right.
Kanitala. You just run it all together real quick. And,
Kanitala.
And that's why I go by Adam K, because it makes it a lot easier for everybody.
That's so much simpler. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. This is a topic. It's exciting to us. Sean has started his own TikTok. We're both kind of in the. I wouldn't say I don't want to give our ages away, Sean, but we're up there. And so TikTok is not been on our radar lately. But Sean, I know, has been starting out with TikTok and kind of testing the waters a little more. I've been
trying to get tips from my 20-year-old daughter who'll be 21 in 2 weeks, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's not that hard." It's like, I'm like, it seems hard. I don't know. It's like, I'm sorry. Like, what does this button do? What does this icon do? And she's like, it doesn't matter. Just press it and see. And I'm like, I'm scared.
Yeah, and that's how I started out too. So I downloaded the app probably middle of last year. So, obviously early on last year, people were going, nuts on there. Like, we're all sitting at home. We need something to entertain ourselves. Oh, look, here's this great new app that, you can go on and entertain yourself with. And there's people dancing and singing and doing all these trends.
Yeah.
So I got on a little bit later. So it was probably July, August. And was like, what is going on here? Is it really what everyone's saying? It's, it's for tweens and teenagers and college students. And as I got on there, they have an algorithm going on. So as you start liking and following certain creators, I started wandering onto business TikTok. And I was like, oh, look at this. There's all these business owners. There's these people sharing all this different advice. There's marketers and salespeople and lawyers.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so I just kept, kind of watching throughout the latter half of 2020. Beginning of 2021, I follow Rachel Peterson. And she posted a video and she's like, if you've been needing that push to start creating on this platform, today is your day. Post a video, tag me in it, and I'll interact with it. I'll put a comment, I'll like it, etc. So
Sure.
I was like, all right, I guess this is like, the universe telling me it's time to wander out of the shadows and start creating videos. So that was literally what I did. I just created a hello, this is me, type video introducing myself, and have gone from there. So that was beginning of January. We're almost 9 months later, and I've gone from 0 followers to I'm at like 56 or 5,700 at this point.
So tell us, I'm sure we'll get into this in the show, but like, is that a big number? Is that a small number? Like, for what you're doing and for the average professional, because you obviously see celebrities, they come into any platform and take over with millions, and so where does that rank as far as how hard is that to get there, and like how does that rank as far, and of course we'll talk about how it's affected your business.
Right. So I don't think it's not a huge following. Like, TikTok has a creator fund where once you hit 10,000 followers and meet certain other things, you can get into that and actually pay you, like pennies per view, and things like that. So, I haven't hit that mark yet, but also, when I started, the people that started at that time last year, probably have, that posted consistently, things like that. I have some like connections that have like 100,000 followers, kind of in the same relative space as far as like financial topics and things like that. So, but they had gotten on basically a year before I did, so they caught a nice
wave. They've had a little more time,
there to to get to where they are. So, I'm very happy with the size following I have. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I've got probably 12 or 13,000 followers on there. But that's been over 2 years that I've been active on there. So it definitely was a quicker growth pattern on TikTok. Like, literally within the first week, I was at almost 2,000 followers just because I had a couple videos. For me, I felt they went viral. It was like one of them got 50,000 views within a week. So I was like, oh, well, this is working. And then, and that's when clients started rolling in from there.
Wow.
Why don't you give it?
You're getting actual clients. I think that's good for people to know.
That's awesome. Like
you're landing clients from even just 5,000 followers, because you don't have, not like any other platform, right? People don't have to follow you to see this stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. So, so those viral videos end up going out to the For You page. And so then even if they're not following you, they can see them. Or someone that's not following you, if one of your videos does happen in front of them, they can go over to your profile and look at other videos as well. But yeah, they don't have to be following you or connected to you to get those video views going out there. So a lot of my videos only get like 200 to 400 views, which when I compare that to even like my LinkedIn, like I'll post similar videos and get like 50 views on the videos on that platform that I have more than double the followers.
Wow.
Would you do the same video or very similar? Or
I've done the same videos. Ones that make sense on both platforms. I've done this, like, so the one that got 50,000 views only got like 200 views on LinkedIn. So it was just it was, and to me it was an interesting, like, I was like, this is to me a very boring topic. I talked about the standard mileage rate, the 56 cents a mile that sole proprietors get to use, but because there were people on there that were doing side hustles on TikTok and things like that, they're like, well, does it apply to this? And so they started asking questions. They started commenting. They started liking it. They started, like, that one had almost 500 shares, which is a pretty solid number. And that really helps get the video out further, because not only then is that person they're sharing it to seeing it, it tells the algorithm, hey, this is worthwhile information.
Absolutely.
Push this out even further.
Cool. Now, are these live videos that you're doing, or do you pre-record them and then share them? How does that work?
The majority of them are recorded. So, sometimes I'll record them on the phone. Sometimes I'll record them actually in the TikTok app itself. That's one of the pieces I love about TikTok is the editing capabilities within the app. Oh, cool. Because like on LinkedIn, you have to do all of your editing up front and just post it. On TikTok, you can record, you can record multiple videos, stick them together, chop them down, so like, instead of getting, the people that are like, pushing the, the start and stop button, you can set a timer so that it gives you time to get reset before you start the video. You can trim off the end, when you're telling it to stop the video. You can add in sound, you can add in, different, filters and backgrounds. Like some of the ones I've done really well with are green screens, where like I literally take a screenshot of a website or like a news article, and then I just come on and I talk about it. And you can see like my head floating in front of the screenshot. And
that's cool.
And then like pointing out like, this happened here, this happened there, this is what this means. And just, explaining from there what I'm trying to talk about and the point that I'm trying to get across.
Now, why don't you give us a little bit of background? Because I shared with our audience, kind of your background in the financial world, accounting, finances. Why don't you share kind of briefly what your background in that industry, and then we'll get into some of the content that you're creating and how you do it.
Absolutely, yeah. So I owned my own accounting firm from late 2014 to the end of 2019. Sold it to start my fractional CFO firm. And then at the beginning of 2021, and this is part of what coincided with TikTok starting as well, is I restarted another accounting firm just because I was having my CFO clients asking for, people to help, someone to help them with their books, to help them with their payroll, with their taxes. So I was like, well, it's a very complimentary service. Let me do that as, bring that back on as well. And, be kind of that outsourced finance department for them. So that's kind of where, all of that, wandered in from. And then I was like, well, all these people that are on TikTok, they need to get their taxes done. It's a perfect time of year, beginning of January, to get out there and get in front of them. And that's what happened.
Oh, that's great.
So also like, I'm curious, like, when you found TikTok and you saw people doing stuff and you saw the people go, what were the apprehensions? Like, what were you nervous about? Because I'm sure a lot of our listeners may be the same way. And then how did you decide, to get going? I know you talked about the one lady you saw in there, but like, how did you know where to start with content and all that? Just kind of walk us through that whole journey.
Yeah. So the biggest effort was literally creating the videos. So, I've been posting on LinkedIn for, like I said, almost 2 years now. For a while I was posting every single day. Now I post, 3-4 times a week. But it was all text posts. So it was, talking about, this financial topic, that financial topic, something I saw in the news, but it was all text. I did a few videos here and there just to be like, what, how does LinkedIn work with videos? And I was like, you have to have some pretty good following and create entertaining videos even on LinkedIn to get people to actually watch your videos. Otherwise they're just scrolling through. They're not going to wait that 3 seconds to get it counted as a view.
Sure.
So, creating the videos was the first step. And as far as where content comes from, it comes from all sorts of different things. Like I'll literally see stuff in my feed on TikTok where I'll be like, well, I don't agree with that, or I agree with that, or this is a good point. And then I'll take, kind of those content ideas and spin them and put my, kind of perspective on it. Or, like I said, like during tax season, I was just talking about tax stuff all the time. So I was talking about like the standard mileage rate. I was talking about forms. I was talking about like state tax credits. So things, again, that are going to appeal to people. It's very timely, Now at this point, I'm just talking more in general about like small business stuff, like bookkeeping and payroll and, keeping track of things, because people at this point of the year don't really care about taxes.
No. Yeah. Those are things that up until April, that's top of mind, right? I mean,
Yep, exactly. And the kind of things that the people are asking, they're asking their coworkers, they're asking their friends about, and they're like, oh, well, here's a professional. Here's someone that actually does this for a living, answering all these questions. And then the nice thing about TikTok is when someone asks a question in a comment, you can, just like on LinkedIn, you can reply with a text comment, or you can just go in there and reply with a video comment. And so then, that adds, another piece of content. It's another video where literally someone else said, hey, well, what about this? and then you answer it for 15 or 30 seconds, and they're happy because then they get their answer, and it's a longer explanation than the 100 whatever characters you get in a comment. You can do, well, at this point up to 3 minutes going into different topics.
Is a video comment, is that shareable? Like if you're responding, like you said, in a video to something, and can they share that, or can that be shared on TikTok? Okay.
Yeah, because what it does is you record it just like a video, but then it shows their comment as kind of like, if you think about like the cartoon, like like box, it like puts a box and you can put it wherever, but it shows their comment like embedded in the video, so that someone can be like, oh, well, someone asked that question, and then they can also, it links back to the original video, so they can go back to the original video and be like, what were they asking that question about? And then so then they see another piece of your content, and if, like, I've seen some people do like strings where they do like a whole series of these where they're just answering every comment from that question, and now they've got 10 or 12 videos that came all the way from one piece of content.
Right. That's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So what has been your most popular? You said, during, obviously timing has a lot to do with it, during tax season up until that, it's always a good time to post like questions related to taxes. What do you see in terms of maybe the length of a video and the kind of content that people kind of, from your experience, they've kind of really attracted a lot of your viewers, watchers, and things that they've shared more than anything? You mentioned the mileage, which I think is really good, because Sean and I are both kind of entrepreneurs. We do, we travel to clients and customers at times, or go to events. So we're, tracking those miles sometimes. And obviously we're taking every advantage we can with with those deductions. Things like that are really helpful. But what's content that you've noticed in your business, and maybe in general, that people kind of latch onto and really say, I'm going to, really boost this or share this, and gets a lot of engagement.
Right. That stuff has been a lot of, just kind of the informational, videos and things like that, because, we're not taught taxes in school. We're not taught taxes in college.
No.
We're not taught how to run a business anywhere. Even if you get an MBA, they're not showing you how to run, a small business. They're teaching you how to run like a Fortune 500 corporation.
Right.
And, when I had, my previous accounting practice, that's all I worked with was small businesses. And I would get the same questions over and over and over. Is this deductible? Is that deductible? I heard this on social media. I heard this from my friend. I heard this from this other business owner. Can I do this? Can I do that? And so that's where a lot of my content ideas came, especially during tax season, came from, is just kind of regurgitating those answers and saying, yes, you can do this. No, you can't do this. You can do this in certain circumstances. So, just kind of being, just general informational knowledge that, and
you basically simplify the complicated, is what you're saying. I mean, you take what, all of us have questions about during tax season, and we get on the IRS website and we're more confused than when we started. Right. And you basically take that and simplify, which I think is great. I mean, I think this is a great platform. I wouldn't have thought about it at the beginning, because I think of TikTok as an entertainment, kind of like we were saying at the beginning, just nothing but entertainment. But I could see the value, obviously short, simple videos that really simplify something that you're frustrated with when you try to do your taxes every year. Unfortunately, if you do your taxes, which I don't recommend, but yeah, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And, as far as like length of videos, TikTok is a very short attention span. So, some of these topics are extremely complex. And so even in like, I've tried to shrink the amount of time that I talk about things.
Yeah.
At first, like you can set a 1 minute timer on a video in TikTok, and I was having to keep re-recording because like I was halfway through my thought and the video cut out.
Time up. Yeah. Time's up. Yeah. It's like,
now a lot of times I try to set the 15-second timer and try to get my thought in that 15 seconds, because the view time and how much of the video people are viewing determines how the algorithm pushes it out. So
Gotcha.
if it's a 60-second video and your message got done in 10 seconds, and then the other 50 seconds was you rambling, they're only watching for a sixth. Whereas if it's a 15-second video and you got done in 10 seconds and rambled for 5 seconds, now they've watched 2/3. So I've been trying to either make multiple videos where it's like kind of a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4.
Yeah.
Or just trying to, kind of spit it all out in 15 seconds and kind of setting that timer is like, okay, if I can't get it out in 15 seconds, I need to, to rewrite this. I need to rethink how I'm going to say this to get it out in 15 seconds so that I get quicker, or I get more people watching more of the video.
That sounds so challenging. Really, I mean, because I'm sure, it takes time and practice, but, you thinking, it's complicated information that you're basically summarizing in a 15-second clip. But like you said, the value to that is you can make multiple clips of that.
Exactly. And then, at the end you go follow for part 2, follow for part 3 to get them to, to follow you. And then, to be able to see the other videos. So, every time someone hits that follow button, it adds, and then they start seeing all of your other videos. So even if the longer ones where I'm rambling for, a full minute, then they get to see at least part of those. And TikTok has a very long tail. So some of the videos that I did in January, people are still seeing now. Whereas like on LinkedIn or like an Instagram reel, within an hour or 2 hours, if they don't see it in that time frame, they may never see it.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's good to know, because I'm big on content that sticks around a while.
Yep.
So it's good to know that. And I think like a lot of people, because Instagram has now favored stories over like profile posts, right? Which stick around.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that TikTok is like, if you have a good video, people are going to go look, and all your other videos are still there, when they go look at your profile, because that's what we all do. If we see somebody we like, we kind of check them out. So that's good. That's good to know. So are you finding the most success with 15? What is it? 15, a minute 30, and 3? Is that what it is? The different times?
So the 15, 60, and 3 minutes are the I've never done a 3-minute video because one is, my 60-second videos don't do great. But I was like, what, if I started talking for 3 minutes about a topic, again, people are going to watch it for 10 seconds and then move on. So even if I put, I could put stuff out there just to have it in, on the profile so that if they do start watching my videos, then maybe that's sitting there. But, like even like, like Gary V and some of the other, influencers that have enormous followings on TikTok aren't doing 3-minute videos just because the attention span just isn't there for someone to watch a 3-minute video.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Sean, you and I would have serious problems with posting our show or anything related to our show on TikTok because.
Well, but, for sure. But at the same time, like I see what Joe Rogan does and the way he obviously has a world-class editor for his 3-hour podcast.
Yep.
But I mean, you'll see clips of his podcast spread across social media that are a minute, 3 minutes,
Absolutely.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. So, I think, can you do that? Can you
repurpose?
Oh, absolutely. So even if you guys repurpose just like your rating of the different beers, as and that just became like your profile on on TikTok. Those could definitely fit inside of 30 or 60 seconds or even 15 seconds. Or, you put one of yours as one 15-second clip, the other as another 15-second clip, and then, link back to the, to the podcast page so people can listen to the whole podcast episode.
Great idea.
That's a very common, kind of those kind of snippets where you do it every single episode. People know it's coming. It gives you multiple pieces of content to drop on there.
That's a great idea. I love that.
We'll have to tighten some stuff up, but it's a good idea. So I'm curious too about like, do you have a stick for this? Like, I know you've got like your kind of uniform and your background, your branding. Was that something you were doing before TikTok, or is that part of something you developed, for TikTok, or did you have it even before this?
No, I
And is it
had
necessary
it
to
before.
have something like that?
Yeah, so I've gone as one of my hashtags along the way was the bow tie CFO. So that's I've worn bow ties for years, so it just kind of like, oh, well, you're the bow tie CFO. Okay, well let's go with that for a little while.
Yep.
The background, it's the wonders of Amazon, and I was like, well, here's my brand colors, and I'm like looking through all the different like backdrops, and I was like, oh, well, that one's my literally basically my green and my blue from my logo. Perfect. I'll get that and put it behind me, and then when I'm on Zoom calls, when I'm on podcasts, when I'm doing videos from my office, I've got that background. And part of it is it's such a change in pace when you're going through that For You page. It's like, oh, because it's like it's basically a solid color. It's got obviously the pattern in it, but it's not like someone walking around outside. It's not someone
right,
sitting at their kitchen
Stands
table. Out. That just that change in color behind a person, it's like, oh, look at that. And then the more they see it, they're like, oh yeah, I recognize that guy. He's he's been in my feed before. He usually provides good content and about these topics, so it tightens up that top of mind reference as well. It's like, oh, that's. And I don't wear the bow tie all the time in the videos. Like I'll sit here in a t-shirt, I'll sit here in a polo, whatever I'm wearing that day. I definitely got beyond that piece. Where at first it was like, I needed to dress professional and wear either a collared shirt or a polo or something like that. And I was just like, now it's TikTok, like you have people wearing all sorts of different things on TikTok. So if I'm on there and I'm, just wearing a t-shirt and looking like a normal guy, but talking about these topics, it's more relatable. It gives something to people like, oh, that's actually a real human instead of like the stereotypical accountant, like sitting in a dark room with like the visor and the and things like that. So right. I was like, because that's a big piece is just the personability of it. Like, like you said, my tagline is I translate finances into English. Well, that tells people, from the jump what I'm doing. And, I take, like you said, these complicated topics and simplify them so that everybody can understand them.
Sure.
But that's a great point, though, about, the background and the familiarity that creates. So, I mean, when I was trying to figure out a character I could do for one of my businesses and kind of came up with a character for that reason. So when you're scrolling, if you like this character, this version of me, my alter ego, it's a very clear uniform and you're going to recognize it every time. Nobody else is going to be wearing that, So I kind of like having something like that where it's a bright background or, something like that. I do think that's a good idea. I don't think people should let that stop them, but, that's something I let stop me, but not everybody else should let that stop them.
Yeah, and there's some even lately, I've started doing videos when I'm on my morning walk with the dog, I'll just pull up my phone and just record a 20-second, 30-second, and so then so now people are seeing trees and houses and things like that behind me, just to give a different perspective of oh, he leaves that room, he doesn't just there 24/7 in front of that green and blue background, just to to switch it up a little bit.
Well, and, if you live in a nice neighborhood or, whatever, there's a lot of subliminal cues people would get from that as well, right? Or, just the fact that you're a dog owner and that's going to create some rapport for a certain amount of the audience. So all these things, they add up and they do make a difference.
Yeah. We've talked about a guy who, I forgot the guy's name, but he does the brutal truth about selling, he for the sales industry. And he does those kind of walks through his neighborhood where he records. It's really cool because I don't watch him as much on TikTok as I do LinkedIn because I follow the guy on LinkedIn. But he does a really good job. So he'll take a topic every morning, when he's out just walking his neighborhood, getting his exercise, and just records it on the phone. Yep. And I'm sure he's I haven't checked TikTok because I always follow him on LinkedIn, but I'm sure that his content is he repurposes everything on multiple platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. So
is that Brian Burns?
Let's see. Brutal Truth. You know what? I'm ashamed to say I don't know the guy's name, but it could be.
Could be.
I know he's out in the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, he let's see. I'll tell you his
So while Jonathan's looking for that, so let me ask, do you find TikTok is like more for your niche? Is it more people who are just unfamiliar, and that seems to be the people you're reaching, whereas LinkedIn might be a little bit more, they kind of already know a lot of this stuff? I mean, what are you finding about TikTok as an awareness, how aware these people are? Or is it pretty much just a big group of people?
One, it's a huge group of people. So,
yeah.
But I even have, I have followers on TikTok that, they've owned businesses for years. And, some of the topics that I brought up, they're like, oh, I've never heard that before. So it's definitely a different mix. On TikTok, a lot more of the clients that I've picked up have just been like individual taxes where, they might be a solopreneur, they've got a side hustle, and maybe it's the first time they've done it because they just started in 2020 because, they got laid off or what have you, and have never done business taxes before and have no idea, what they can deduct, what they can't deduct. But then there's also people on there that have had businesses for, years. And, they're looking at, should I be an S corporation? Should I be an LLC? Should I be a C corporation? How do all these things work? I've found a little niche with kind of expats that are, they're working outside of the US to be able to qualify for some of the credits for that. So, it's a different mix. Whereas, with LinkedIn, you have a lot of business owners on there.
Sure.
But a lot of the actual business owners aren't on there. They might have a profile on there.
Yeah.
But it's all their staff. It's their marketing team and their sales team. And
absolutely.
People that, they still need to get their taxes done, which still works for me because I can do their personal taxes. But they might not be the decision maker to hire me as their CFO. And those people, if they're not on LinkedIn that much, they might still be on TikTok, in the evening saying, oh, I'm going to, spend half an hour scrolling through my For You page.
Sure.
And then I pop up and they're like, oh, that's something I could actually, I need for my business because I don't have anyone that fills that role. I've got, someone that does my taxes. I've got a bookkeeper. I've got a payroll person, but I don't have someone for that financial strategy that I can slot in there to push me. So
two questions. One is kind of general for our audience. Like, do you think most people overestimate what the audience knows about your specialty? As a professional, have you found that you tend to overestimate what people know?
I don't know that the people in my overestimate what the audience knows. I think the audience gets a lot of different information. So realistically, they don't know who to trust. So they're like, you see these quote unquote experts on there that are like, oh, you can buy a G-Wagon and you can write it all off, or you can hire your kids and that's a $12,500 tax write-off every single year. But those videos, again, because it's 15, 30, 60 seconds, don't tell you all of the operational ways to do that. Like, you can hire your kids, but you have to keep a lot of records to be able to do it. You have to pay them an appropriate wage. And so those are the kind of videos that I'll do is I'll take that first video, piece of their video, and I'll stitch it where it says, hey, I see my 4 kids and that's a $50,000 tax deduction for me. And then I'll go into, here's all the stuff you have to do from there. So that, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So talk about that real quick from a, I think this is one of the unique things about TikTok is that the way you can grab other people's content and either latch onto it or even do like side by side, what was it called, duo? Like, so if they're saying something, you could basically have a running commentary countering what they're saying, or there's a lot of different ways you could use it. But talk about that, like how, because like on Instagram, Instagram is very hard to do that kind of stuff, right? It's hard to share stuff. You can do a little bit in your stories, but like we said, that's gone in 24 hours.
Yep.
So talk about that a little bit, what you mean by stitch together, because a lot of people may not know that.
Yeah, so we'll start with duet and then we'll go to stitch. So a duet, you're literally, just kind of like on this podcast. Jonathan recorded a video, and then I get to sit next to him or above him or below him, however I want to position it, and I can be like, yes, this is right, no, that's not. Put captions on it,
Mhm.
what I'm thinking, or I can kind of voice over, what he's saying. So
Right.
that's one way, to either say you agree with something they're saying or disagree with.
Sure.
The stitch
And anything on TikTok is fair game, right?
No, so it depends.
Mm.
So when you post a video, you can choose to let it be duetted or stitched. So if you turn those functions off, then and sometimes some of the controversial stuff, people will turn that stuff off because they don't want people duetting and stitching it,
see.
and then their face, blowing up all over the place. So so that's a duet, and then a stitch, you get to grab up to 5 seconds of a video, and then create the rest of a 15 or 60-second video from there. So
cool,
so I've done a few of those where, again, it's a certain topic where I can grab a single point inside their video, and maybe their video was 60 seconds in total, but I just grab 5 seconds of it, and then I give a commentary basically after that to say, here's what you have to do, here's what you go from there. And I had one of those videos early on hit like 42,000 views. Wow. Where again, it was a very timely thing. It was about like the IRS, like the first time penalty abatement that the IRS allows for taxpayers. Again, it was during tax season. People are starting to file their taxes. Now, I took another creator's video, and I think they only got maybe a couple hundred views on their original video, but mine went to 40,000 because I took their one single point and then expanded upon it to something that was applicable to my audience. And they got shared and commented on a whole bunch, like, how can I do this? Oh, I didn't know that. How far back can I go? So getting all those questions coming in really pushed it out.
So I'm looking at your actually looking at your TikTok page right now. So I'm sharing an example of one thing, because I see on one of your TikTok videos you've got David Portnoy of Barstool.
Yep.
Talking about the NIL, or what is that? Is it the NIL for athletes?
Yep.
And so you're commenting on a video that he did about, the NIL, NCAA, I guess, months back.
Name, image, likeness.
Yep. Name, image, likeness. And I guess the tax implications on that, which to me would be super interesting to actually watch that video. So.
Right. And that's an example of a stitch where I took 5 seconds of his video and then made my commentary on it, where
that's great.
All these college athletes all of a sudden are, like some of them are getting 7 figures this year from these NIL deals.
Yeah, sure.
And like, I know just yesterday, BYU, I think it was, all of their female athletes are going to be able to qualify for up to $6,000 this year from one of these sponsors.
Right.
That none of those athletes have ever gotten before. So, so then they're a small business owner now. They're a sole proprietor. Right. If they don't do anything else.
Yeah.
And unless they have expenses to go against that money, they're going to end up paying taxes because all those companies that are sponsoring them are sending a 1099 off to the IRS at the end of the year. And so I was like, oh, well, here's, thousands upon thousands of college athletes across the country
that are automatically entrepreneurs now.
Right. And potential new clients. Because,
exactly.
Before it was always, they went home to mom and dad. Hey, mom and dad, I've got a W-2. Can you file my taxes for me? Well, now with a Schedule C mixed in there, it becomes a more complicated tax return, and a lot of people aren't comfortable being able to do that.
And that's great for you to jump on like that, because some of these athletes, they catch your, with this NIL deals, some of these athletes, they catch your video on TikTok, who are they going to reach out to? Right.
Exactly.
So,
cause they're getting, advice from their teammates and, the person on the football team or the person on the basketball team. And it's like, do they really know what they're talking about as a, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe not.
Absolutely. So, what I'm hearing is, from you, like, your business, the average brick and mortar business, TikTok's not out of the realm of them to utilize. You just have to know how to, use it in the right way. You can't use it the same as some of these other platforms, but if you understand it, if you understand, the audience and I guess the, what you can do, the capabilities and some of the limitations that you have in terms of time, then you can really use it for marketing, just about anything you want to.
Absolutely. And, if you're a brick and mortar, you can do stuff relatively locally on TikTok.
Yeah.
But, also, a lot of the ones that I see that do really well are businesses that have some sort of product that they're selling.
Yeah.
So, like Erica Rankin with Brodo. She sells protein cookie dough. Now she's only in Canada at this point, which is kind of sad for us here in the US, just because of all like the food regulations and stuff like that to be able to ship it across. But that's one of the things she's trying to do.
Sure.
But I think she has a couple 100,000 followers now on TikTok. And like one of them was just literally showing like the mixer with like the dough in it, like in the paddles spinning around. But that's the stuff that people like, oh, that looks fantastic. Like, I want to buy that. And then, they go to her website, they buy some Brodo and go from there. So having those products and those kind of behind the scenes, like, this is how, the sausage is made, literally.
Absolutely.
In some cases, can really, push people out there and
those are
make a bunch of sales for their business.
Yeah.
So are there any unspoken, unofficial rules that you kind of need to know about when you go into TikTok, when you start producing content? Is there anything that our listeners need to know about how to get their first couple videos out? Or do you have any advice?
Realistically, it's literally just post and try different things out. So, like I always tell people, I'm like, get on the platform and just and I think this kind of goes back to, I think it's Gary Vee that came up, is go in there and consume and figure out what is going on the platform, how your message, how, you can get out there. Because, at first I was like, if I'm having to dance and like point at boxes around my head and everywhere, that's not my personality.
Sure.
It's not me. It doesn't represent what I am.
Right.
So I was like, can I just go on there and be, the relatively boring finance and accounting guy and just talk about stuff? And like, I nerd out about taxes and I nerd out about business finances. So for me, it's like that I get excited about that. So, it's literally that. And then as you get started, you'll start seeing what people like, and you'll start seeing, and also having no expectations. Like, if someone would have told me before I posted the video about the standard mileage rate that it would have gotten 50,000 views, I would have laughed at them.
Yeah.
And, and that's the stuff. It's like, we don't have any idea what the audience is going to latch onto. And that day, the video, that video, people latched onto it and, sent it out like crazy. I was like, all right.
That's cool.
And, also another piece I tell people is turn off your notifications, because when you do have one of those videos, unless you want your phone just blowing up, turn off those notifications, deal with them when you're on the app and in the platform.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, good advice. I do that for all notifications. Just period. Like, I think that's a good thing. Like, you do have to consume enough to kind of learn the platform, what I hear you saying, but at the same time, and this kind of goes against what, the tenets of social media for a lot of people, but you can still control you're still in control, right?
Yeah.
You get to choose how to use the platform and use it for output instead of just input, right? I mean, that's the difference between entrepreneurs who are creators versus just people who are consumers.
Right.
Is the ability to turn off the consumption and use the platform for distribution, and not get caught up in, because like they say, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Exactly.
So you can easily get caught up in these, Instagram, Facebook, any of them. And if you don't have some discipline around that part, turning off your notifications and checking your stats and all that kind of stuff. It's like, so do you have a routine, I guess, that you like at this certain time of day, every day you post, or 2 times a week, 3 times a week? Do we need daily? Like, how often and when do you typically post?
Yeah, so I really don't have a schedule, and part of it too is because with TikTok, it's a slow rollout anyways. So even if you post at the same time every day, it still could take a day or two before it hits the For You page. So, so there's some of those pieces where you can literally batch content and drop five videos back to back to back to back because it doesn't impact when the algorithm is going to push it out to people. So, so there's some of those things that I've kind of learned as I've gone along that, one, it has that long tail, like I mentioned earlier, where, like I said, people are still viewing videos from January that I posted, and it's now almost October, as well as, there's been times where I've posted, 3 videos in a row, and then I may not post for a couple days. So I don't really have for me, it's much more when I'm in a creative mindset of creating those videos and then dropping them, all together onto the platform. And, by creating the videos in batches makes it a lot easier because I'm in that creative space just over and over. It's like, okay, I'm doing a 15-second video. It literally only takes 15 seconds. Even if I have to do a couple takes, I'm done in under a minute. And then, there's adding a sound, adding some, captions and things like that. So, putting a 15 to 30 second video on there takes less than 5 minutes. So if I do that 6 times, well, I've got a whole theoretically week's worth of content in half an hour.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the way I was thinking about approaches, like doing the batching and on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon when I'm relaxed and I'm not thinking about business and everything else, and, skip a TV episode or Netflix episode and like go produce some content, and then drip it out through the week. Or like, it's good to hear you say you could just drop it all at the same time and let the algorithm do what it's going to do. But it sounds like probably shouldn't do, like, you wouldn't want to, like in email, you could do like, this is, Tech Tuesday. Like, you probably wouldn't want to do something like that because it's more evergreen and you don't know exactly when people are going to see it, like you would with an email.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Okay. So keep it a little bit more evergreen, batch it, and then either drip it out or just drop them all at the same time.
Well, Sean just mentioned something really important, evergreen, because everything that you do on this channel is pretty much evergreen. I mean, it's not timely. So people can, that's a great thing about these platforms is people will be finding this stuff and finding it valuable for years and years simply because, they're going to be asking questions about mileage deduction, when it comes time to tax season and, advantages that they can take, that the IRS gives you. So, I mean, it's, those are just ongoing questions that people going to have for many years to come. So that's evergreen content is so important.
Well, and it's easy to repurpose it into a reel for Instagram. It's easy to, repurpose it into a shorts on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, so you can drop it over, on other platforms as well. And like I said, I've posted some of the videos to LinkedIn as well. And so, having that video, all the platforms are going to video.
Absolutely.
So the more that you're creating video, the more that you're comfortable creating video and doing kind of and that's, like I said, what I like the TikTok app is the editing capabilities within it is I don't have to record a video on my phone, upload it into editing software, add sound, add captions. I can do it all in one platform instead of having to put it over there and then put it, import it back into TikTok or import it into Instagram Reel.
Right.
I just do it all in there. I download the video afterwards and, away I can go to, to the other platforms.
Here's a perfect, I'm going to share a perfect example, of how to build content because, we always talk about, you always cater to your audience. Ultimately, what's in it, WIFM or WIIFM, what's in it for me? So one of your highest, I'm looking at your channel, one of your highest videos is, I'll find your business $10,000 in 45 minutes. That one's got about 8,000, 7,500 to 8,000 views somewhere in there. And, that's one of the highest shared or watched videos I think that you've got. So, I mean, that's a lesson right there. How to cater to your audience is, understanding what's in it for them. What are they looking for to help them?
Exactly. Every business owner is always looking for more revenue. And, and that's part of what and that's my 10K challenge is what you just mentioned, where I'll find any business $10,000 at least, if not more, in 45 minutes. And, I've found $10,000 for a business doing $15,000 a year. And, once you get to 50,000, it's like, I can find you almost, I could potentially double your income.
That's awesome.
With some of the things that I can do. And once you get above that, the sky's the limit. If you're doing $1 million or more a year, it's almost no problem to find $100,000 just kind of laying around what I call couch cushion money, that it's there and you're just not capitalizing on it.
Sure.
Man, you got a nicer couch than I do. You can find $100,000 laying on the couch cushion.
Right? Yeah. It's one of those.
He's got a deeper couch cushion
for sure.
It's one of those couches from the 80s that's like bright green. It's still got the plastic cover over it. That's why all the money is hiding in the cushion, because that plastic cover is keeping it in.
Exactly. Yeah.
The old Archie Bunker couch.
So you mentioned earlier, I want to get back to this real quick. So you said you prefer the actual TikTok app to record your videos. So it's pretty easy then to go from there out to Instagram, out to YouTube.
Yeah. So one of the things that there's been, I don't know if they're rumors or if it's true, is that Instagram shrinks the views if it has a watermark on it from TikTok or somewhere else. So there have, of course, been apps now created that you can download the video without the watermark on it. So I use a couple different ones of those, just depending on which one I click on first. And you can take the link from that video, you import it into this app, and then it downloads a video without the TikTok watermark on it, which then you can put wherever. I've also seen people leave the TikTok watermark on there, because then when they're on one of those other platforms, if someone sees it, they're like, oh, they're on TikTok, and they go over and follow them, get another follower on TikTok as well. So it's like, oh, that looks like a TikTok, but it doesn't have the watermark. So is it really a TikTok?
Right.
Right. So some people leave it on there for kind of that brand awareness, like, hey, I'm on TikTok too. Come over, and I post different content across the different platforms. But again, I'll use some of the same stuff across all of them as well. So, they're not necessarily seeing the same videos on all the platforms, because then they get bored. They're like, well, I don't need to watch him on Instagram because he's just repurposing all of his TikToks to Instagram.
Sure. Yeah.
So, because some people are going to want to know, and Jonathan hates answering these kind of emails, but what is the app that you would use if you wanted to remove the watermark? What's one of the apps you would use?
The one I use most often is SnapTalk. So it's SNAPTOK.
Okay.
SnapTalk.
Okay. Isn't it amazing how these platforms come along and then a whole new world of supporting
that's right.
apps show up and a supporting industry? I mean, that's just, it's a great example of wealth creation and how wealth creates wealth, and it's it's not a static pie. It's an ever growing pie.
That's right. That's a good snapshot of the free market right there.
Exactly. Hopefully we can keep it.
That's right. Exactly.
So,
well, Adam, this has been fantastic. There's a lot of takeaways from this, but to me, the biggest takeaway is that TikTok is not just for teenagers. Like I've got 2 teenagers. They watch TikTok videos, and for the longest time, I've thought, whatever, they're just watching kids dancing or kids vandalizing bathrooms or whatever. But no, I mean it's for business owners too. Yep. And if you can offer some clear, the takeaways that I'm getting from you is that if you can offer some really clear advice and value in the content that you offer in a short amount of time, that's a TikTok video right there. And Sean and I, we have clients, I'll use an example. We both have clients in the, something as boring as the the countertop business, what most people would think, kitchen countertops and, bathroom vanity tops and things like that. You know what? There's TikTok videos that they could, there's content that business owners, like we said, brick and mortar businesses can be putting out for their clients on a regular basis, how-to videos, quick, short videos.
Right.
That
Or
gets them
before and
attention.
afters, like for countertops, like, oh, well, this was the before countertop. Here's us installing the countertop. Here's the after.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Boom. And it's like, oh, look at that. That's an amazing, or if they're doing or like they're doing a whole kitchen or backsplashes, all that kind of stuff. It's like, those before and after ones where it's like, boom, that's a really easy, or even the behind the scenes, like them, cutting those, granite slabs, for sink spots and all that kind of stuff. People eat that stuff up. They're like, how does that actually work? How does that happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, those are the kind of videos that those kind of product companies can really, latch onto.
Yeah, we underestimate that. I mean, one of the YouTube couples that blew up was they just showed people building a container house, they built it all themselves, and I mean they just went crazy viral. People love the DIY and that, like I said, the how-to behind the scenes stuff. It's just fascinating for most people, especially if you're, not for everybody, but if you're thinking about a new kitchen, you're always thinking about a new kitchen.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's what's on your mind at the time. And then once you get it done, like you don't think about it anymore. Right. It's just like, and everybody's got those things in their life that, when they're starting a new business and they start, they get their first tax bill, usually, 9 months later than they should have planned. They're like, oh crap.
Right.
This employment tax thing, where'd that come from? Then they're shocked and they're behind and, all that stuff. Like that first year as a self-employed person is scary for, once you realize that it's a different game. So, and there's always stuff like that in your niches. That's what's cool. And I think what I was trying to say earlier is we take a lot of that for granted once we're in the niche and the space, but a lot of our people, that's new information too.
Yeah.
And we
get tired of it, but our audience doesn't. Right. So,
right. Yeah.
It's so common.
There's always
to
new
us.
people coming in. Yeah. There's always new people coming in. And
that's right.
I mean, they've been selling granite countertops for 30 years and, my clients, they're not the biggest in the country, but every day they have 4 or 5 people walk into each location looking for new counters. I'm like, are there really that many houses being built still? And yeah, there are.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, and also, even if it is, an app for, 15 to 25-year-olds, and if your target market is 30 to 40, eventually they're going to be 30 to 40.
Absolutely. Yeah. That
Good
age
point.
demographic is eventually going to be, they're going to be the homeowners that are in their 30s, looking to upgrade, so there's always a new audience coming in that you don't realize sometimes, over time that happens. So you get,
and we know all these apps are listening to our conversation too. So like, if you're in a household, if you can get into a household that, if a 16-year-old and their parents are talking about countertops, algorithm will probably pick that up at some point, whether you believe that stuff or not, but like certainly seems true anecdotally if nothing else. Then the kids can like, hey, have you seen this company? This is kind of cool.
Right. Yeah.
So, and those teenagers have influence with their parents when
absolutely.
So, well, it's been good.
Yeah, Adam, it's been a pleasure, man, having you on. Thank you so much for joining us today. How can our listeners find out more? I know if they go to TikTok, they can find you at your CFO Adam on TikTok.
Right.
And
I'm CFO Adam everywhere.
Okay, everywhere.
So even on LinkedIn, I go by the hashtag CFO Adam. So if you just do that search for that hashtag, that'll pull up all of my posts as well in there. But yeah, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Even just started on Pinterest a little bit ago. So
cool.
Starting to drop some of those pins out there. Yeah. And again, repurposing the content from TikTok to create those idea pins. So that's the easiest way to find me, or it's adamkae.com.
Well, we'll certainly post a links to your webpage and then all of these channels. But again, that's CFO Adam. You can't. That's easy to remember. I love that. Very memorable.
Yeah,
So.
and it's easy to pronounce as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Unlike myself, you got what's cool about it, you got a unique name. There's probably very few others with that last name. So, so it's definitely unique. Yeah.
Well, thank you again for having me on. It's been awesome.
Yep. Absolutely. And we've enjoyed having you. Adam, we're going to send you just briefly to our back to the green room. And if you don't mind waiting just for like a minute or two, we'll bring you back up right after the show. And again, it's been a pleasure having you on. We've enjoyed the conversation this week.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you. Good stuff. Sean, that was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. That's better than some of the speakers here. So, I won't name names, but like that was good stuff. So, that gives me some new juice to really dive into the TikTok world and have a little fun with it, and not take it so seriously and just get the content out there.
Right. Not to mention, just those short clips, even of content, pre-existing content, that you have that you can simply clip out. I'm thinking of, we got so much content from Persuasion by the Pint that's easily, just from our, craft beer reviews, like like Adam was saying earlier, using that, that content.
I also think it's a good way to train yourself to be more succinct in what you're trying to say, right? I mean, you have a platform that kind of forces 15 to 60 seconds. You're going to start to get good at making your point in 15 to 60 seconds instead of 5 to 10 minutes, which, we always talk, for 30, 40 years, people have always talked about elevator pitches. Basically doing a bunch of those around topics. And so training yourself, what's the old quote? Like, if I need an hour speech, give me 15 minutes. If I need a 30-minute speech, give me an hour. And if I need a 5-minute speech, give me like 2 weeks. Because it forces you. I think it would have to force you to think more succinctly and really pull the value up faster. So it'd be a great training ground for that, if nothing else.
Absolutely. Well, to all of our listeners, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching us on the YouTubes. You can find us always at persuasionbythepint.com. You can find us on all of your platforms, Stitcher Radio, iHeart, Spotify, you name it. Sean, it's been fun, man. And we'll be, Sean, you're on location. We'll be back. You'll be back in studio next week. And
I will.
We'll look forward to catching you all next week on the episode or on the show, persuasionbythepint.com. Thanks.
See ya.
All right.